Hi, I'm Michael Allison. I'm the Commercial Director at Roma Finance, and welcome to another episode of Roma Talks. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by our Roma's Data and Technology Director, Nathan Kenny. Hi, Nathan.
Hi, Michael.
And as part of the series, we have been getting to know some of the people who are part of our leadership team at Roma. So, Nathan, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. It's a nice day in Manchester for once.
For once it is. So go on then, tell us a bit about yourself.
So, hi, I'm Nathan. I'm the Data and Technology Director at Roma. My background's very much been around data warehousing, business intelligence. For my sins, I was really, really good at Excel. That's where I started my journey. I could do it in Excel, so much so that I once wrote a car racing game in Excel using macros in my spare time.
In Excel?
In Excel, yes.
I think I'm lucky if I can get the columns to line up, if I'm honest with you.
So essentially, everything I learned was I was the go-to Excel guy in the company, and because of that, the way businesses work, people need information. People need to know what's going on in the world, and often people have fragmented data sources, and they'll come to me and say, "Can I get a report on this using these two data sets?" And I would push them into Excel, and we're talking, this is Excel 97, which is kind of 65,000 rows maximum amount of data available. So it's a pro nerd tip for you there.
Yeah, absolutely. You lost me then.
And but essentially, what I'd do was merge things together, create graphs. But what I realised is people were asking the same information every month, every week, in the same format, and I was manually building it. So my decision to do was, can I automate this? Can I essentially automate my job, and therefore add more value to the business I was working for?
So was that your role? Is that the role that you joined at that business, was to do data? Or
No, the role I joined was they wanted someone who could do Excel things, because there's no one really in the company who could do it. And so I started there on like a temporary contract, and very quickly it was, can you do this? Oh, can you do that? Can you do something else? And each time I was given a new piece of work to do, a new month-end report, it was, okay, we build it manually, but then how on earth do I never do it again?
Yeah.
Because my theory being, the more I can automate, the more value I add. So, and by doing that, I suddenly realised, actually, I'm quite good at this. I quite enjoy doing this. It's there's plenty of things that I really can add value, able to start spotting trends. This is kind of pre-machine learning, pre-artificial intelligence. Almost at the dawn of analytics, really. Kind of the early 2000s, as people started getting hold of bigger data and bigger data sets. I was kind of there at the very start of it. So it was quite interesting to see what you can do with information, because at the time a lot of businesses would run on kind of best guess, best thoughts. We think this, we think that, the market's doing this, so we should follow it. This kind of led to that kind of dawn of understanding by saying, hang on, if we can prove it, we can actually spot that extra percent, them tiny gains, and a lot of it's down to how do you utilize information better to empower your business.
So data's changed a lot, hasn't it then? So what you're saying there is, you're starting off in Excel and then you're moving your way through. So has it always been in the finance industry that you've operated?
No, I've actually been quite lucky. I've worked in multiple different sectors. The common theme across every single industry, wherever you go, is people need information. Yeah. People need information to do their jobs. And I started working for a chemical company, and they need information. I went to telco after that. I've done airline intelligence. I've done travel intelligence. I've worked across supermarket data. I've worked in manufacturing, and prior to working here at Roma, I was the head of data at Tandem Bank, so I've had my finance experience there.
So data's it's ubiquitous then.
Completely.
So it's a transferable skill for
very, very much so. I mean, it helps obviously knowing the industry, but sometimes coming in, with fresh ideas and a fresh challenge means you can say, but why do you always do it like that? Oh, this is because what we do. Well, actually, there's probably better ways, and I think having that mix of experience has really helped me get along at Roma.
Brilliant. So how have you found transitioning into? So you went to Tandem Bank and then at Roma, you joined us just over a year ago. Do you see anything different in financial services that you saw in any of those other industries?
So I've come from a regulated background into obviously Roma's unregulated. Obviously, the style of company compared to the larger bank as such is very different. My role is more than data now. It's I'm responsible for all the IT and tech. So I've taken on board. We've created our own service desk to make sure that we can provide the right service to Roma. If someone has a technical problem, there is a gateway to go to to get your answer. So I've set all that up. So again, it's moving away from that full data background and making sure that I provide all the tech, all the cyber, because obviously we're a growing company. We want to make sure that we're protecting ourselves from multiple bad actors out there, and also we're doing that by educating the staff. We're making sure that people are aware of what these emails coming in look like. We're trying to help people not click on the wrong links. We're trying to support people, both for themselves at home as well as Roma. We don't want our staff being, maliciously attacked. We want to make sure they're protected. So it's very different. Moving on, I'm there's one of me, and I've come from a large team, and obviously we're now building a sensible technical team here that meets the needs of Roma.
Yeah, I think it's certainly over the last 12 months we've seen a big shift. At Roma, we've always been innovative, and we've liked to embrace new opportunities. Obviously, we did it with the open banking, we did it with the Credas for the ID piece. But I think for us, technology has always played a part of what we want to achieve, and it's always about finding that balance, isn't it? About human touch being the intelligent touch.
Absolutely right.
And what we're looking to do. But over the last year, we've seen some of our gains in growth as a business has come on the back of some of the technology wins that you and your team have brought.
Absolutely.
So what's next then?
What's next is we've got a lot to do. There's that's the simple way.
I think it's one of those things. Sorry to cut. You don't, probably back to your spreadsheet days in 2002. You don't realise how much you really can use data until you have quality access to it.
Absolutely, and I guess I often describe myself as being on a data crusade at Roma.
Yeah.
It's if we can get the right information in, we can get the right outputs, and the team I'm building now can get those right outputs for the business. And what I mentioned before, it's easy to follow the market. What's the market doing? Well, actually, if we can start to think, if we track all our data properly, we can then start to model it. When we can model it, we can say maybe we should be changing our rates before anybody else because X, Y, and Z, and actually have the proof to do it. Not kind of we think we should be doing this. And the information we've given you the last 12 months at least has certainly helped to do that and make the decisions. And we're going to do a lot more of it over the next 12 to 24 months. Really, it's going to really open up to what we can do.
No, definitely. So that's obviously at Roma. There's a lot of talk, isn't there, about AIs and ChatGPT and how the robots are going to take over the world. What's your thoughts on that?
It's a great question. The common sense of AI is we need to, we're a business, we have to have AI. Instead of the other way of looking at it is we have a problem and we need to fix it. Can AI fix it? And people, they're coming up with the solution of I've got a solution, I need to find a problem, rather than I've got a problem, I need to find a solution. And I think a lot of it's trying to educate people. If you look at a lot of the machine learning, and I don't know if you've read lots of articles about it, but they could be.
I haven't.
Okay, well,
just
I read lots of articles about it. That's fair enough. But
we leave that to you.
That's fine. One of the problems we have is there's a lot of bias. And this comes down to what I said before, my data crusade. If we get the information right, we trust it. If we trust it, we can give it to the machine, who will then trust it more. And the problem we have, it's people are trusting the machines before they've actually said, do we trust what's underneath? And we're really working hard to do that. We've got a great team around it. We built the data quality reports that are sitting around it, so people now know if things don't look or feel right. Just getting that trust in the data, we can learn so much from it to begin with. We can then add the AI, the machine learning on at the end when it works, when we've got a problem to fix, not, hey, I've got this AI tool that I want to use right now. And I think that it's a common misconception across the entire world at the moment. It's AI will solve everything. It won't. It'll assist, and that's what we need to look at it properly with.
I suppose it's not too different to building a house, isn't it? What you're saying is your data is your strong foundations, and on top of that, then you can lay whatever fancy stuff you want to do. But you've still got to have strong foundations. You've still got to be doing something that's right for you, and something that you can trust. Yeah, I get it. I think everyone automatically starts thinking of a dystopian future, don't they, when they think about AI and Terminator 3 or whatever film you want to look at. So, work-wise, I think what you've done there is you built a career from being good at Excel.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah, but also probably did it at the right time. As the world's grown, you've grown with it. So, what do you do outside the work?
So, I have 2 children, both in primary school. And I spend my weekends essentially cooking for them outside. I'm a bit of a barbecue enthusiast.
So I think everyone's a barbecue enthusiast, aren't we? We've all got a little barbecue in the back garden when it gets warm.
But do you cook your Christmas dinner on it?
You have a barbecue Christmas dinner?
Of course. Yeah. My little boy Matthew, I got him cooking the sprouts and bacon on the barbecue last Christmas.
How do you cook a Christmas dinner on one barbecue?
So essentially, you don't stand outside. You put it in the barbecue and you shut the lid and you go back inside where it's warm. And as long as you keep the regulated temperature, it's the same as an oven.
On one barbecue?
Well, I used two for Christmas.
You've got 2 barbecues?
No, I've got a few more than that.
4?
More?
More than 4 barbecues?
More than 4 barbecues.
How many barbecues have you got?
I've got 7.
Wow.
Considering an 8th.
You're considering an 8th. So in between all the data, so you don't quite have the data about what's the best barbecue to have. So you've ended up buying 8. Is that
It's funny you say that because actually I've obviously got 2 of my barbecues are API'd up, so I can keep an eye on the temperature checking and make sure I can look at my phone and make sure see what the temperature is of the barbecue or the temperature of the internal temperature of the food I'm cooking. So
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, I don't have that. So I'm just that guy who stood there in shorts and T-shirt with a bottle of beer who keeps opening the lid, checking if it's burnt and putting it back down. So I think we're at different spectrums in technology and in use of barbecues as well. Nathan, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers. And thanks for watching. Thank you.